Hi, I'm Tami Sanford with United Educators Association. I'm so excited about our partnership with Raise Your Hand Texas, and today I have Matthew Hall, who is the Tarrant County Advocate for Raise Your Hand Texas. Hi Matthew, how are you today?
Doing great, thanks for having me.
Wonderful, I'm so excited that you're here. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do for Raise Your Hand Texas?
Absolutely. I'm the Regional Advocacy Director for the Greater Fort Worth area, which includes Tarrant, Parker, Wise, and Bosque County, and I work with community stakeholders from the small business community, educators, parents, and other civil society groups to foster a pro-public education climate in our Metroplex area.
So Matthew, I know that the Texas legislative session is going full steam, and I also know that the federal government has sent money to the states. Are those federal education stimulus dollars available right now?
Yes. So the federal government has made those stimulus dollars the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Education Relief Funds, or ESSER. The second round of those dollars are available for states right now, and dozens of other states, 42 as of last week, have already flowed those dollars to their school districts. Texas could choose to apply for those funds and distribute them to districts at any time this second. And 2/3 of the dollars from the most recent third round of stimulus funding, ESSER 3, have also been made available to states. And many states are already in the process of applying for and flowing those dollars to districts.
So Matthew, let me see if I understand this. The money is sent to the state, and then the state sends it to each individual district, correct?
That's correct, Tami.
Okay. Are these dollars intended to help Texas balance its budget?
No. So ESSER dollars are specifically designated for school districts to use to help students recover from learning loss and accelerate their learning in light of the challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. In the American Rescue Plan alone, Texas is receiving $16 billion in non-educated related state aid that it could use to support other budget priorities. Those ESSER funds should not be used for that purpose.
So do we need a centralized body to decide how these federal funds are spent and to ensure transparency and accountability with the districts?
No, this would create additional red tape. School districts are regularly subjected to audits and are used to abiding by federal tracking requirements and grants and federal funding streams. We can give districts the control and flexibility they need to make the most appropriate decisions for their particular context and community, while also ensuring they use those funds responsibly without creating a middleman process.
So how might the districts use these funds?
It's a great question. Districts would spend these dollars in a variety of ways to accelerate and improve learning and improve safety. And that could include adding additional instructional staff to facilitate small group and differentiated education and learning, extended instructional hours via summer school or in-year programming. They could invest in professional development necessary to enable teachers to accelerate learning for students. From a whole child perspective, they could hire counselors and social workers to offer wraparound supports for students and families as they continue to cope with the traumatic and challenging events from this past year. And then also, not spoken up or spoken about as often, they could invest in necessary facility upgrades, such as upgrading and modernizing HVAC systems to bring them in line with CDC recommendations to help keep our schools open.
So Matthew, exactly how much money are we talking about?
With both the ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 rounds of stimulus combined, the public education designated portion of those funds is a combined near $18 billion. For perspective, last legislative session, House Bill 3, which was a landmark public education bill, appropriated only 1/3 that amount for public schools. We're talking about an amazingly large amount of money and a very transformational investment in our public schools at a critical time.
That's right, our districts could really use that money. So Matthew, how can we as citizens keep up with bills and legislative updates from Raise Your Hand Texas?
Absolutely. During the legislative session, we maintain a wonderful advocacy page at www.raiseyourhandtexas.org/advocacy. There you can sign up for our weekly legislative updates in our Across the Lawn legislative email series. You can also sign up for text alerts for our timely call to actions that we activate and mobilize around critical legislative moments in order to support and defend public education. You can also learn about advocacy and civic engagement opportunities both during the legislative session and on into the upcoming election cycles, because every election is a public education election.
Wow. Thank you, Matthew, for being here, and thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me.